Okay, here is lesson 1.3. It is on adding integers, and our learning target is that we can add integers using zero pairs in a number line. So let's first talk about zero pairs, and then I'll show you how to do the number line. So what zero pairs are is for every positive and every negative, they cancel each other out, leaving a zero as a result. And whatever's left over after you cancel out the zero pairs is the answer to the addition problem. So I'm going to draw a little picture of this question. We have positive 3 plus negative 7. So we have 1, 2, 3 positive signs because that's positive 3. Well, I'm going to have 7 negative signs. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now I'm going to cross out the zero pairs, and what's ever left over is going to be the result of this addition problem. That's a zero pair, they cancel out. That's a zero pair, they cancel out. And that's a zero pair, they cancel out. The answer is what's left over, and we have 4 negative signs. So the answer to this problem is negative 4. That's what zero pairs are. Whenever I'm doing adding integers, I basically think in terms of plus and minus signs, and what the plus and the minus cancel each other out, and the whatever's left over is the answer. So now I'm going to model using a number line, and we have 5 plus negative 8. So when I do this, I always say like I start at 0. So I like to do it above the number line. Some of you guys might do this actually where you start right there on the number line. And we're going to go over to 5. So some of you guys might do whoopties. You guys probably remember that from when you were a little kid. But I'm going to draw a little arrow over to 5. Okay? So what happened is before we even did any of the problem, I'm at 0, and then I went to positive 5. Now I'm going to add negative 8, which means I'm going to go back not all the way over to negative 8. I'm going to go over 8 spaces. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm going to end up at negative 3. So I'm going to draw this picture. And I ended up at negative 3. Well, 5 plus negative 8 is negative 3. And one way to think about adding integers is like on a number line where you go one direction, then you come back to the other one, just depending on what the sign of the numbers are. So we have a couple examples to do, and yes, you have to draw your pictures. So I have negative 2 plus 4. Well, I'm going to draw 2 negatives. I'm going to draw 4 positives for the positive 4. I'm going to cancel out my zero pairs. And whatever's left over is the answer, and it's positive 2. Moving on to number 2. I have 3 positives, so I'm going to write 3 plus signs. And it's plus negative 6, so I'm going to have 6 negative signs. We cross out our zero pairs. Whatever's left over is our answer, and 3 plus negative 6 is negative 3. Quite simple, right? Now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to model it with the number line. So we have negative 4 plus 7. We start by putting our dot on 0 because that's the starting point. Our first number is negative 4, so I'm going to draw a line to negative 4. We move the dot to there. And now I'm going to move 7 units back in the positive direction. So I'm going to draw a line that ends up at 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that is a picture of the question being modeled. And the answer is 3. Okay, number 2. We have 5 plus negative 9. So we put our dot at 0. I draw a line over to positive 5. We have moved the dot. And we're going to add negative 9, which means we're going to go back 9 in the negative spot and end up at negative 4. So again, we're modeling the picture. I went 5 positive, and then I went backwards negative 9 spaces, and I ended up at negative 4. Okay, that is math that you should have done last year. So now what I really want you guys to be able to do is I want you to be able to add integers without the pictures. Like you should be able to do this in your brain because you guys are smart and you guys should have a good handle on integers because I'm going to use them a lot in advanced math. So I'm going to go on to the next page and show you the rules. All right, there's two main rules when it comes to adding integers. There's the rule of when you add and it has the same sign, and there's a rule that when you add and there's different signs. Okay, so let's read. Okay. To add integers with the same sign, add their absolute values. The sum is positive if both integers are positive, negative if both integers are negatives. And here we have a couple examples. What this means here is we have negative 4 plus negative 5. We have two negative numbers. So what that means is we just add them up. 4 plus 5 is 9. And when you read our rule here, they're positive if both is positive, negative if both are negative. Those are both negative, and there's our answer. So when you're adding negative numbers, if they're both negative, you just add them up and call it negative. So here, So here we have negative 7 plus negative 8. They have the same sign, so we add. 7 plus 8 is 15. They're both negative, so the answer is negative. You owe me $7. You borrow 8 more. You now owe me 15. Okay, now we have the rules for when they have different signs. To add integers with different signs, subtract their absolute values. The sum is positive if the positive integer's value is greater, negative if the negative integer's absolute value is greater. I think there's an easier way to explain this, and I'll just do it by like working out this problem. So I have negative 4 plus 9. These signs are different. So what we're going to do here is 9 minus 4. And 9 minus 4 is 5. But now we have to decide our sign. And so we look at the two numbers. And you have to look which one's bigger. Well, the 9 is bigger than the 4. And that number is positive. So our answer is positive 5. So to summarize, when our signs are different, you subtract. That's your answer. And you take the sign of the larger number, which is 9. Here we have 2 plus negative 8. So the signs are different, so we subtract. 8 minus 2, that's 6. And we have to decide our sign now, so we take the sign of the bigger number. 8 is bigger than 2, and the sign with 8 is a negative, so we put negative 6. Sometimes it's really easy to think in zero pairs when the signs are different because, the two positives are going to cancel out two of the negatives, leaving that negative 6. Now, you'll notice there's no IXL at the bottom of this assignment. I'm going to give you a little break from those for a while, until we're done with multiplying and dividing integers. So you got a little break from that, but what I want you guys to do is go through and do the blue worksheet, all right? If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm here for you guys, all right? Bye.